What up, guys? Kevin here. I did it. I listened to the podcast, and I just want to give you my thoughts on that. The podcast that is, and will always will be the podcast where Xbox officially announces they're going third party, or more. They're already third party, but they're going more and more third party, like super duper third party. But it was kind of a dud. It was kind of like, is this really needed? Like, shout out to the Xbox community out there, the few fanboys that had a meltdown last week and basically cyberbullied Xbox into doing this. They were going to do this already. I think it was probably going to be like an Xbox Wire. I don't know. Phil Spencer said something, but they pushed it up. And we learned about what they're going to do with Xbox games. And it's 4 games. It's just 4 games. So, yeah, where do we start? Let's just start with those 4 games. It's going to be Hi-Fi Rush. It's going to be Pentiment. It's going to be Sea of Thieves. And I guess that 4th one that we weren't sure about is now going to be Grounded. Now, he just said 4 games. He didn't want to step on the announcement of those games going to other consoles, even though we all know. But there's probably contractual agreements, or, just let the developers have that moment. Have that moment of, yes, that's our game at a Nintendo Direct. That's our game at a State of Play, whatever. I saw like one journal pissed off that Phil Spencer didn't say the games. I'm like, you are the dumbest motherfucker alive if you don't understand that. If you don't understand that the studios and those platform holders may want to keep that to the vest. And so does Xbox. But then it was asked, what about Starfield? What about, Indiana Jones? Those are not coming. Those are not going to PlayStation or Switch or Switch 2. Which, look, I think we're all smart. I don't think Xbox is going to put those 4 games on other platforms. And if those games end up doing well by whatever metrics that they are looking at, I don't think they go, well, that was a good experiment, and then just call it quits. Of course they're going to put more games there. Even Matt Booty kind of contradicted Phil Spencer, saying, Phil Spencer made it sound like, it's just these 4 games, do not expect it, and Matt Booty kind of opened that door up a little bit more. But we all know these 4 games, or even just one of the 4 games, sees success on those other platforms, which those other platforms have many, many consoles where people can buy it. It's safe to assume that it's going to happen. Phil Spencer threw out metrics like games that have communities, or an arbitrary number of these games have been out a year, or they're not games that are supposed to sell Xboxes. But it's all bullshit. It's all bullshit. Starfield it's not even a year old. I think they want to let that breathe on Xbox for a little bit. Let's get a couple more updates to fix things. Let's get an expansion in there and then see how things play out. Because at any moment, Starfield could pop off again. We see it with these games, especially a game like Starfield, or games that were hyped up and didn't live up to the hype. But then later on, they fix the game, and then people just have a moment where oh crap, this game's good again. I think they're waiting for that moment. That moment feels pretty inevitable with Starfield. All the hate and the hate bait is out of the way. Now it's time for Bethesda and Todd Howard to fix whatever's broken with that game, and then all the updates and stuff. That game's going to pop off again, and I think Xbox wants to hold on to that for themselves. But, yeah, no game is off the table. Now, Sarah Bond, which is crazy. I do work with a Bond at my job who looks just like Sarah, and I wonder if they're related. But anyways, she mentioned the Game Pass numbers, 34 million. And that seems about right, what I've been hearing out there, but that does include the core, which if you remember, the core were automatically converted from games with gold. And the last number before that was 25 million. So it was like, what, 9 million games with gold members? No wonder they converted it. But we don't know for sure how that number looked. But yeah, Game Pass hasn't grown. You got to sell consoles. They maxed out on PC basically. And this is everywhere. This is everywhere for subscriptions. I don't think people like subscriptions anymore. I think we've just gotten an ass full of them. Just like everything is a subscription. Everything is a subscription. I'm pretty sure I can get a subscription to get paper to wipe my ass. Like everything and everywhere, every place just wants money from you each and every month. Like everybody, like Walmart has a pass. Like it's so dumb. And I think that hurts Game Pass. It hurts everybody. I think that's where Game Pass stalled. I think Game Pass stalled when everybody said, we've had enough of subscriptions. Sure, you give us a great value, but all these things give us great value if we just concentrate on using that and that only. But also, I got to give props to Game Pass because I did subscribe about a week ago. I played Brotato for about like 5 days. And then I was like, all right, I'm done. And then I was able to get my money back. So they are very consumer friendly there. But I do think that it is great that Game Pass is low. If Game Pass is low, that means they're able to go out and get bigger titles for Game Pass. If Game Pass is at like 50, 60, 100 million, the price of getting a game, a big game that we want to play on Game Pass, that's going to be very fucking expensive. But 34 million? That means they can get some pretty decent games for day and date. So, I actually root for Game Pass to not go down so much that they go, screw this, we're getting rid of Game Pass, but stay at a level to where it's not that expensive for them to go get like a Persona 3 Reload and stuff like that. But yeah, then Diablo 4 finally. I've been meaning to make a video going, where the hell's the Activision Blizzard games? But we're getting a big one. Diablo 4 is coming to Game Pass, I think March 28th. That's a really good get. Hey, a game that's on everywhere. So like this whole thing was just meaningless. Like Xbox biggest games are already everywhere. So who cares? Hi-Fi Rush. Sarah Bond said that they are making another console. And it's going to be a huge leap, the biggest leap in console gaming. She said something along those lines, which there's been some pretty big leaps, but what does that look like? Leap in technology, I think she said. So it didn't say like leap in power, but leap in technology? I keep hearing about a handheld. That's a pretty big leap. And Xbox has never done, like you say, oh, Nintendo, but like Nintendo's kind of always done it. So it's never been like a leap. But if they are going the power route and leap, like it's funny. Last week I heard like PlayStation is the next PlayStation is going to be the winner in power in terms of power. Well, if Xbox delivers the biggest leap power wise, and they already got the most powerful console, PS6 is not going to be as powerful as whatever the next Xbox console is. Again, it don't matter. It sounds like they're both going to go with AMD, and it's not like AMD is going to hold out for the secret sauce, the secret extra bump to give to like PlayStation or Xbox or over another. But it really just depends on what they want to pay, what Xbox or PlayStation wants to pay to put in that box for what, 500, 600, 700 bucks at that time. But yeah, I mean, overall, like Xbox isn't going anywhere. I looked at the reaction online. Xbox fanboys are pretty happy. They're crawling back to Papa Phil. Like, sorry, Phil, I didn't mean to get out of line there. You just scared me. That's all. And then PlayStation fanboys, they're trying to take it as a win. Like, well, it's 4 games, but more coming. But remember yesterday, Hiroki Totoki, Mr. Sony, head of PlayStation right now. He said he's going to be doing this exact same they're going to be doing this. They're going to be putting their games elsewhere. Now, so Phil Spencer said, like, that is, like, he said he has a feeling like it's kind of already there. Like, I know when people say, like, oh, put their games elsewhere, that means the games have to come to Switch and Xbox. But, you know, he said, like, mobile and PC, PlayStation and PC. That's what he mean by going third party or done with exclusives. Of course, they will always hold back games from each other, especially Nintendo, Xbox, and PlayStation. But when you're in last place like Xbox, in a way, they get the benefit of taking advantage of those other audiences. You look at it, they get to take advantage of PlayStation, Nintendo. They say, hey, we're gonna take your audience, we're gonna sell our games with your audience. Whereas PlayStation and Nintendo, all they got is each other, and they got to mend fences because I don't think they like each other still. Because putting it on Xbox sure will help, but and I think that was another thing that might have been in a different interview with Phil Spencer, where he says putting games, it's not like a bartering system. It's not like, oh, I give you game, then you give us our game. He said it's strictly business. It's so, if you want a Hi-Fi Rush 2, more people need to buy Hi-Fi Rush 1. It's just simple math. It's just, they look at the numbers and like, this isn't working if we just keep it on our platform. But anyways, that's my thoughts. Nothing really too crazy. What is a crazy thought? What's a crazy thought? I don't know. I don't have anything. I'm sorry. I let you guys down. It's pretty boring, pretty tame video. Am I saying anything that anyone else hasn't said? You know? Anyways, oh well, I gotta go. I'm hungry. I'm gonna go eat. I'll talk to you later. Later.